The White House is forming a panel that focuses on UAPs. The move comes as President Trump pushes to be more transparent and declassify information about the mysterious objects. And the man he's chosen to help him do just that is Harvard University astronomer Avi Loeb. Now, Loeb served as the head of Harvard's astronomy department until 2020 and specialized in black holes and galaxies. He joins me now. Avi, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. There's been a lot of criticism from the public about the government's secrecy about this. So are you confident that you'll get the administration's full support to actually find answers?
Well, thanks for having me. It looks like we're heading to a partnership, in difference from the script of Steven Spielberg's movie where the main character has his car smashed against a moving train. In my case, the government calls for a partnership, a collaboration, because apparently there are objects they cannot identify, and at the very least will help the Pentagon fulfill its mission. So I'm very hopeful that we can usher in a new era of partnership where we will find out what these objects are. And, there were 1.5 billion views of the files that were released in recent months by the Pentagon. That shows the public cares a lot about this question, and the public funds science. So this is a great opportunity to bring science to the forefront, illustrate how science works. It's just like a detective story. We have to rely on evidence, on clues, not on opinions. And so my point is we should keep our eyes on the orbs, not on social media.
Okay, so we know you and your team, you're obviously just getting started. You held your first meeting last month and requested more than 50 videos, images, and other documents from the Pentagon. And the Pentagon has also released 3 batches of decades-old footage to the public. Based on what you've seen so far, what do you believe we are seeing?
Well, what I can conclude so far is that there are definitely mysterious objects. There are things that we have no idea of what they are, because at least in some cases they behave in ways that are different from human-made technologies, either by the US, employed by the US, or perhaps by other nations. And so we just need to get to the bottom of it. The data released is not sufficiently convincing. So we should either get access to higher quality data, the government may have that, or collect new data in the coming months or years. And at the end of the process, once we figure out what these things are, it will bring us to a better situation, because if these are all human-made, perhaps they were used by adversarial nations to spy on strategic assets. And so we will improve the defense of the US in that way. That's the down-to-earth approach. But if we happen to find at least one object that is not human-made, that would be the biggest discovery ever made by humanity. It will change everything. We might learn about new science, new technologies. We will realize that we have a neighbor that reached our backyard, that we might not be at the top of the food chain, cosmologically speaking. And it might inspire us to explore space and visit their backyard.
Avi, I have to ask you about this because some of your theories have been challenged by your academic peers. One in particular is Steve Dash, an Arizona State University astrophysicist. And he says you use flawed methods to reach wild conclusions about alien life, and that your role on the White House panel casts doubts on the entire endeavor. What is your response to that?
Well, the response is that I'm not reaching any conclusions. I just consider the possibility that there might be technological artifacts from other civilizations near Earth. That's all. And that's a hypothesis that should be tested by data. But what happens very often in science is that experts, comet experts like Steve Dash, they prefer to assume that every object in the sky must be either a rock or an iceberg. And all I tell them is, just like with AI systems, the quality of your assessments depends on your training data set. If you have only a training data set of icebergs and rocks, you might miss technological objects. And we know that we sent space objects into space that are technological, and therefore we should allow for other civilizations to have done the same. The sun is a late comer. It only formed in the last 1/3 of cosmic history. So it makes to me a lot of sense to have an open mind about this. But a lot of gatekeepers are trying to suppress our curiosity, not to entertain this possibility. And I think that's a big mistake. And of course, if we find evidence that indicates beyond any doubt that we are being visited, that would be a huge discovery. And the only way we can make it is by allowing this possibility. It's often thought that science discovers the truth irrespective of the opinions of people. That's not true, because science is based on the priorities that scientists assign to investing resources, investing time, money in trying to figure out, to collect evidence. And if people like him are basically saying there is no point in doing this, then this evidence will never show itself.
Yeah, and I do think that this is such an important topic that so many people are very, very curious about. So I'm eager to see what you learn and what you find out and what you can share with the public. Avi Loeb, thank you so much for your time today. We appreciate it.